In an instant, a wall of fire tore across the chamber. The shockwave slammed against steel bulkheads. Men near the initial blast died instantly.
Hey, you're not putting me in there without a gun. Oh, I'm about to burn alive and drown at the same time? No, I'm not. The United States military has been a lot of places and done a lot of things. Some really great and some really bad. And so today we are going to be seeing some of the worst ways people have ever died in the United States military and what are some of the U.S.'s worst war crimes.
During the Gulf War in 1991, tank battles raged across the deserts of Iraq and Kuwait. It was the first time many American soldiers saw how fragile a tank could become once modern weapons struck its armor. To outsiders, a tank looked invincible. Steel walls, heavy guns, endless firepower. But inside, the crew was packed tightly together, surrounded by fuel and ammunition. A single hit could turn it into a death trap.
I want to know if there's footage out there. If you find it, fucking send that shit. A video inside of a tank taking impact from like a rocket or something. That would be crazy. I know there's like IED videos and shit like that, but I'm trying to see inside of a tank.
A U.S. unit engaged a column of Iraqi T-72 tanks. These Soviet-built machines were powerful, but their design left one terrible weakness. The ammunition was stored openly inside the crew compartment. If a shell or missile penetrated the armor, it ignited everything at once. Soldiers called it the jack-in-the-box effect.
The tank is realistically a V, but they're like, we're going to get close, and I hope you fucking blow our shit up, because we're going to blow your ass up. Close quarters combat with tanks. Dude, do tanks have bayonets? I think I've seen a tank with a bayonet. I want to see a tank get pierced with a tank bayonet. That would be cool, just saying. All right.
One Iraqi tank was hit directly by an American round.
Yeah, it's fucking blowing up.
The explosion didn't kill the crew immediately. Instead, fire tore through the compartment, overwhelming the men inside. Witnesses later recalled that the gunner was still alive, desperately trying to force open his hatch. The flames spread over his body as he screamed for help, but the steel expanded with the heat, jamming the mechanism. From the outside, American soldiers could hear his cries, but could do nothing.
You could hear it? If you guys have never heard people like screaming because they're dying, it's actually soul crushing, even if they're the bad guy and you hope that they die. That's how you find like a real psychopath. Like, I'm not gonna lie. If you've ever like wished the worst upon somebody and actually heard them like screaming or like burning alive or like actively dying and screaming, and it doesn't like make your blood fucking like curl, you might actually be a crazy person. That's why you're not going to catch me in a tank, man. I don't want to die like that.
Shell after shell exploded in rapid succession until finally the entire turret blew free from the hull in a massive fireball. The tank was gone, and so was everyone inside. To the soldiers who witnessed it, the memory never faded. The image of a man trapped in a steel coffin.
What do you mean the image of a man? And you had to imagine that. You did not see this. Is the tank see-through? And how close do you have to be to hear that during an active firefight? I think y'all might have already had PTSD.
The USS Iowa turret incident. On the morning of April 19th, 1989, the USS Iowa was conducting training exercises off the coast of Puerto Rico. The battleship was one of the largest in the U.S. Navy, armed with massive 16-inch guns that could fire.
Why do our boats not shoot and kill more shit? Bro, I'm trying to see these things go crazy. That's what I want to see. I want to see some more footage of some boats having real battleship type shit. That would be cool.
Each turret was a steel fortress of its own, 3 stories tall, with narrow ladders, ammunition hoists, and cramped compartments.
Oh my God, there's actually people inside of these? I thought it was all electronic. I'm not a boat guy, so I don't know this shit. I didn't know there were actually people in there.
Ammunition hoists, and cramped compartments.
So it was like a house.
Turret 2 was fully manned with 47 sailors. Their job was to...
47 people? I know it smells like ass. 47 people in that? I feel like 2 people is a lot.
Turret 2 was fully manned with 47 sailors. Their job was to prepare the guns for firing. It was dangerous but routine work, ramming powder bags into the breech, stacking shells in the hoists, sealing the heavy doors. Once the sequence started, escape was impossible.
Y'all know you're not sealing me in nothing. I don't with planes because it's a metal coffin, 30,000 feet in the sky. If anything goes wrong, there's nothing I can do other than jump out of it, but then I can't jump out of it because I don't have a parachute, so fuck all that. Second of all, I ain't never going in a submarine, 30,000 feet under the water, not happening. You're not putting me in a boat where I can't try and swim out of that shit.
As the crew was loading powder into the center gun, an explosion ripped through the turret. In an instant, a wall of fire tore across the chamber. The shockwave slammed against steel bulkheads. Men near the initial blast died instantly, but others were deeper inside the turret, trapped in compartments with no way out. Witnesses on the deck later said they could hear faint voices over the intercom, panicked screams, desperate shouts for help before the system cut off.
Nah, hell no. I'm killing myself. Hey, you're not putting me in there without a gun. Oh, I'm about to burn alive and drown at the same time? No, I'm not.
Within minutes, the screams went silent. The fire raged until it consumed all the oxygen left in the turret. By the time rescue crews managed to break inside, it was too late. All 47 sailors were dead. The official report reduced it to a sterile line. An explosion occurred in turret 2.
That's bad, but I feel like that's probably happened like a lot. Let me know down below in the comments, out of all of these, which one do you guys think is the absolute worst?
The aircraft carrier USS Forrestal was stationed off the coast of Vietnam. The ship carried more than 5,000 men and nearly 100 combat aircraft. At 10:50 a.m.,
decks and
everything
cockpits
changed. A malfunction caused a rocket to fire from one of the jets parked on deck. The missile shot across the carrier and slammed into another aircraft loaded with fuel tanks and bombs. In an instant, the deck erupted in flames.
I thought shit's not armed until you're like in the air. I fucking hate that guy. Boom.
Pilots inside their cockpits were suddenly trapped as fire raced over the deck. Some never even had a chance to unstrap. Witnesses later said they saw men beating on the canopy glass, trying to escape as the flames consumed their planes. The heat reached over 1,000 degrees in seconds. Bombs began to cook off, exploding one after another. Each blast hurled shrapnel across the deck and ripped through sailors who were trying.
You're not gonna tell me I can accidentally shoot a rocket, but I can't eject out of my shit?
The flames were unstoppable.
Bro, this is dark as hell.
To bring the fire under control. When it was finally over, 134 men were dead, and more than 160 were badly injured. The deck with the Navy later called it one of the worst disasters in its history.
Oh, shit. There's actual video of this? Oh, well, we definitely... But Mr. Ed, if you want to drop photos of...
On August 12th, 2000, the Russian nuclear submarine Kursk was participating in a major naval exercise in the Barents Sea. The submarine carried 24 torpedoes and was manned by 118 sailors. At 11:28 a.m., a torpedo malfunctioned in the forward compartment and exploded. 2 minutes later, a much larger blast
how does that happen?
Caused by other torpedoes igniting.
Nope. See, rule number 1, a submarine. I ain't going on that shit. 2, what's up with all these random missiles and shit going off? Once again, you guys wanted longer reaction videos. That's what you guys recommended. So we're going to be doing that today. Let me know down below in the comments. If you guys do enjoy this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And if you guys want me to react to long form videos, feel free to drop a video suggestion in the Discord and we just might react to it.
In the aft section of the submarine, behind sealed bulkheads, 23 sailors survived the initial explosions. They gathered in the 9th compartment, the far rear of the vessel. With the power gone, they had only flashlights and a few emergency oxygen candles. Captain Lieutenant Dmitry Kolesnikov wrote a note to his wife and to the Navy. In it, he recorded the situation. He signed it with the time, 13:15, nearly 2 hours after the first blast.
What happens to the submarine, though? Does it sink or is it like buoyant at that point? Is a portion of it buoyant? Imagine the submarine like blows up and you're just locked in the back. Wouldn't it fucking like, wouldn't you be like rolling around and shit if it's like twisting and turning going to the bottom? Dude, that's like an airplane falling out of the sky, but you're under the water. What if they blow up like Ocean Gate? I feel like they wish they did because they're alive, stuck in a submarine.
They attempted to conserve oxygen while also burning oxygen candles. One of the candles malfunctioned and exploded, releasing toxic gases and worsened.
So apparently they locked themselves away. I'm trying to see if I'm like factually correct. They locked themselves away in that last compartment and then they started another fucking fire because of like some type of gas shit.
For several days, Norwegian and British rescue teams waited for permission to assist.
It's a wrap.
When they finally reached the submarine a week later and opened the hatch, it was too late. The bodies of the 23 men were recovered from the 9th compartment. Kolesnikov's note confirmed that they had lived for hours after the initial disaster, long enough to understand their situation and to record their final words. In the end, all 118 men aboard Kursk died.
Why is everything malfunctioning? Hey, this is why you conduct, PMCSs and inspection checks and all that shit, because shit be malfunctioning.
Napalm became one of the most infamous weapons of the 20th century. A thickened gasoline that clung to everything it touched. It burned at temperatures over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. During the Vietnam War era, the U.S. military used it extensively in combat and also in training exercises on bases across the United States. In one of those training sessions, a live demonstration went wrong. A group of soldiers was practicing.
All right, guys, this thing would fuck us up. Let me show you how it would fuck us up by fucking us up. A bail! No.
A group of soldiers was practicing with napalm canisters. When the weapon ignited, one of the men was caught in the blast. Unlike ordinary fire, napalm could not simply be brushed off or smothered. It stuck and continued to burn. The man was still conscious as they carried him to the medical tent. He screamed in agony as the burns spread. Even with morphine, pain was overwhelming. The gel had sunk deep, fusing with his skin. He survived long enough for his fellow soldiers to realize that nothing could save him. By the end of the day, he succumbed to his injuries.
God.
Military reports reduced the incident to a training accident.
What to do if I accidentally get napalm on my skin? Kill yourself. If you get napalm on your skin, seek immediate emergency medical attention. Oh, thank you, AI. Really appreciate that.
In 2003, during the bunker incident, U.S. forces used dozens of hastily built bunkers and reinforced shelters around Baghdad. These structures, made of concrete slabs and sandbags, were meant to provide protection from mortar fire and airstrikes. But under the stress of explosions, they could just as easily become traps.
I have a feeling this bunker had a fucking door on. Bunkers do not have, like, doors on them. And I feel like we're about to find out why. And I am thankful that they do not have fucking doors on them, because that shit would be terrifying. Incoming. Can't get out. Jeez.
The structure collapsed without warning. Several men were inside when the ceiling collapsed. Most managed to scramble out, coughing through dust and debris. But one soldier was pinned beneath a slab that weighed several tons. His legs and chest were trapped under the concrete.
They're thick, guys. They're super thick.
Despite continuous efforts, the rescue took too long. Internal injuries and blood loss worsened with every minute. Eventually, his voice grew weaker. By the time they managed to shift enough debris to reach him fully, it was too late. He had died still trapped under the concrete.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, that is for sure happened more than once. I think we're learning, don't get locked into some shit, okay? Do not get locked into dick.
On October 21st, 1981, the Soviet submarine S-178 was returning from training exercises.
These Soviet submarines are not having a good time.
The diesel-powered submarine was moving on the surface at night, only a few miles from Vladivostok. At 7:46 p.m., the refrigerated cargo ship RFS-13 struck the submarine on its port side. The impact tore a hole in the hull near the
whole fucking ocean. That's not on the fucking goddamn ship. I'm sorry, submarine. We're super elite secret submarine. Fuck seeing what's on the top of the ocean. We're for sure good. No, you're not.
Within minutes, the S-178 began to sink. Some of the crew managed to escape into the water before the submarine went down. Others...
That's me, bro. On God, I don't care if they're like, it might start flying. I'm like, every bitch needed to open the escape hatch right fucking now. Bro, I'm taking my chances outside. I'm not drowning in absolute darkness, okay? I'm not suffocating. I'm good. Yeah, I ain't doing it.
Others sealed themselves into the central compartments as watertight doors were closed.
I'm not sealing in shit.
32 men were trapped inside the submarine when it came to rest on the seabed, about 108 feet below the surface. The men in the control room and engines...
Hey, Siri. What's 103 divided by 6? So that's 17 of me standing on top of myself. I'm getting out. What the fuck do you mean? Wait, how deep is it before you got to worry about running into the bends, you know? Oh, more than 30 feet. Oh, shit. You're fucked. It says 30 feet is when you have to worry about the bends. So... Yeah, you're fucked.
The men in the control room and engine section had little light and limited air. They knocked on the hull with tools, sending out SOS signals in the hope that rescuers above would hear them. Divers later confirmed that the knocking sounds were received. Rescue operations began the next day. Divers brought air hoses and tried to attach rescue equipment, but poor visibility and strong currents slowed progress. The trapped men rationed.
I feel like we're not trying hard enough. I feel like we're not trying hard enough to save everybody.
Several sailors attempted to escape using breathing gear.
Oh, shit.
Some made it to the surface and survived, but others lost consciousness during the
I'm taking the risk.
Those who remained inside grew weaker as time passed. After 2 days, divers managed to reach the submarine and open hatches. They evacuated survivors from the aft compartments one by one. In the end, 27 men were saved. 5 others, who had been trapped in the flooded forward sections, did not make it out.
Damn, that one's ass. That one's cheekiest Maximus.
On June 19th, 1959, at Fort Dix, New Jersey, a group of young
New
Army
Jersey.
recruits lined up on the grenade range.
Oh, God.
It was one of the most dangerous parts of their training.
At least when I went through grenade training and boot camp, it's a very serious thing. I literally saw multiple people get fucking dropped for not taking a knee after throwing a grenade. It was the best thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Extremely brutal. So funny to watch. Looks extremely painful. Learn how to throw a fucking grenade right.
One of the recruits pulled the pin from his grenade. Instead of throwing it properly over the wall, he froze. The live grenade slipped from his hand and dropped to the ground inside.
Oh my God.
The fuse was already burning. In less than 5 seconds, the grenade would detonate. There was no time to think, no time to run. Sergeant Rice reacted immediately. He shoved the recruit toward the corner of the pit, away from the grenade. Then, without hesitation, he threw himself onto it. The explosion tore through the
Big
pit, killing
ass
Rice
dick.
instantly.
Absolute fucking daddy moment. I always have a plan. If you guys have ever seen grenade training, you're in like this concrete little bunker thing. My plan is I'm just watching the grenade the whole time. Typically you can jump out and there's like a little 2-foot wall and you're supposed to just jump over that wall and start rolling with them. So you can for sure live now the way it's like all set up. Bro, I'm picking that thing up and I'm dropping it over the big wall. But now that I think about it, rolling with Fischel be the best option.
The recruit survived, shielded by the instructor's body.
That recruit,
so did the other men.
I hope they got out.
Word of the incident spread quickly across the base. The Army later confirmed the details in its investigation. Rice's act was not a mistake, not an accident. It was a deliberate decision in the split second before detonation. His body absorbed the blast, sparing the others. Sergeant First Class John R. Rice was posthumously commended for his sacrifice.
What do you guys think is the worst one? Tank or Iowa turret one? It's one of these two. It might be the turret one. I'm suffocating. I'm trapped away. I'm also worried about the boat sinking. I'm cooking at 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Iowa turret one. That's my least favorite one for sure. Let me know down below in the comments you guys genuinely enjoy these longer reactions and enjoy these crazy types of deaths and war crimes. And we'll do some more. Or every major U.S. war crime in 20 minutes. 1, it's not a war crime if you get caught. 2, if you're fighting for your life, is it really a war crime? Ooh, dark thoughts. Dark thoughts!
In the Vietnamese village called Sun Mai, U.S. soldiers carried out what became the largest massacre of civilians by American forces in the 20th century. Between 347 and 504 unarmed villagers, most of them women, children, and the elderly, were killed. Many women and girls, some as young as 12, were raped before being murdered. Bodies were mutilated.
Is it Viet Cong propaganda? Who knows? Unless there's testimonials, then it's fun.
Homes were burned and livestock was slaughtered. Witnesses described women using their bodies to shield children, only for soldiers to fire into them. One ditch alone held more than 70 dead. Then, platoons went hut to hut, killing entire families, bayoneting the wounded, and throwing grenades. Soldiers later testified that their orders had been to destroy everything, leave nothing.
Like, that's like some, Nazi shit. Like, oh, I was told to do it, so I just did it. Shoot a baby in the face?
One soldier intentionally shot himself in the foot to avoid taking part. A few, like Michael Bernhardt, refused to kill and later helped expose what happened. The massacre might have been even worse if not for Warrant Officer Hugh Thompson Jr. and his helicopter crew. Flying low over the village, they saw women and children being slaughtered. And at one point, Thompson landed between U.S. soldiers and terrified civilians, ordering his own gunners to fire on Americans if they kept killing.
Bro literally said, I'm not doing this. This is bad. No, 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 no. Ah! War crimes equals cheating. If you ain't cheating, you ain't winning. So war crimes are only for people with winner mentality. I do agree with that, except for the whole killing innocent women and children stuff.
He personally evacuated survivors by helicopter, saving dozens. At first, the massacre was reported as a great victory, claiming that 128 Viet Cong were killed, and the unit was congratulated.
Young Viet Cong. He said goo goo gaga, but it sounded like fuck you, America. So we killed his whole family and burned down the village.
When photographs surfaced showing women,
we got photos.
Fuck! Ditches, what happened could no longer be denied. In the end, 26 soldiers were charged, but only one, Lieutenant Calley, was convicted. He was found guilty of murdering 22 villagers and sentenced to life in prison.
Didn't y'all just say there were like 500 innocent people killed? Nonetheless, it's absolutely terrible. I'm not for it. I'm not with it. If you guys enjoy this content, want to watch it live, come join us on Twitch, where we stream Monday through Friday. It is completely free. Just come and hang out. Watch me be retarded. Isaac, I appreciate you, man.
Most others escaped punishment. Survivors, many of them children at the time, carried the trauma for decades. One recalled, "Everyone in my family was killed. They threw me into a ditch full of dead bodies. I was covered with blood and brains."
The Lai Massacre was pretty not good. Moving on. Absolutely terrible.
A roadside bomb tore through a U.S. Marine convoy. The explosion killed a Marine instantly and left 2 other Marines badly
Yeah, no, I'm pissed. I'm
Within
killing
hours,
people.
that turned into one of the darkest chapters of the Iraq War. The Marines shot 5 unarmed men who had been ordered out of their taxi, killing them on the spot. Then, they entered nearby houses. Inside were families with grandparents, parents, and children as young as 1 year old. Nonetheless, 19 civilians were killed in their homes, most shot at close range in the chest or head.
As a soldier, if my boy dies, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm fucking waxing people on sight if my command says that's okay. I'm for sure not killing innocent people in their homes, though. But am I possibly using it as an excuse? Maybe. That's bad, though. Don't do it. Not for it. Don't do it. They're innocent people. But I get the anger.
Some Marines received immunity in exchange for testimony, while others had their charges dropped. By 2008, nearly all charges were gone, and the only Marine punished was Vuteric. He admitted to negligent dereliction of duty, lost rank and pay, but avoided jail. For many Iraqis,
wait, what the fuck is that?
Negligent dereliction of duty.
First, you failure to perform a required duty due to carelessness or lack of diligence. Carelessness, bro. That is every service member on Earth in all of time would be charged with this. You just having a I don't give a fuck moment?
Survivors called it an assault on humanity. Lawyers for the victims urged international courts to take up the case.
No bueno,
Meanwhile,
guys.
the U.S. military paid $38,000 in compensation to some families.
That is nothing. Hey, I'm sorry, 25 people in your family died, and they were bringing in maybe like 100K collectively like a village. Here's 38K. I'm also going to tax that. Here's $5. Ay, that don't look good. That don't look good.
Samar Campaign.
Samar.
Kill everyone over the age of 10. Those were the words of General Jacob H. Smith during the Philippine-American War.
If you think about it, though, compared to the other massacres, he's the nicest guy. He said everyone 10 and younger can live. I'm not justifying anything. This is fucking terrible.
His order did not apply only
The
to armed
purification
enemy
of what?
fighters, but to everyone, as he wanted to turn the island into, in his own words, a howling wilderness. The situation leading up to this was already tense, as just months
Bro, just burn the
earlier,
forest down, man. You
Filipino
gotta go in
fighters
there and kill
together with
everybody.
local-
If you think about it, if you just start a mass fire, it's gonna do all the work for you without the war crimes.
As just months earlier, Filipino fighters together with local townspeople had carried out the Balangiga Massacre, where in a
shit.
surprise attack, they killed 54 and wounded 18 U.S. soldiers.
Them is
That's when
some
the
number.
U.S.
Oh,
government
them is
sent
the
General
bad guy.
Smith to
Hey, fuck that nuclear warhead on your island. We're gonna get got. You're gonna get got more than we get got. I'm not fucking having it. 54. Hiroshima, 50 million. Here we come. Bah, 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 bah. Whole island. I would have dropped 5 of them bitches.
That's when the U.S. government sent General Smith to Samar, who made it clear that he wanted no prisoners and asked for everyone capable of bearing arms to be killed. When Marines asked him what exactly capable of bearing arms meant,
What do you mean
Smith
by that,
explained
sir?
that it meant boys as young as 10 years old. Waller himself, the major leading these Marines, partly resisted these instructions.
If you lost 54 boys, as in like your homies, what are you doing? Bro, if we get massacred, you're getting double massacred, pussy. You know what? We're not committing war crimes. We're just going to drop a fucking bomb, and if you die, get fucked, nerd. Don't be in the area with the bad guys. I don't know how to react to this without it sounding glorified. I'm not glorifying it.
Estimates suggest around 2,000 to 2,500 civilians were killed. The campaign became infamous in the United States once reports reached home, and Smith was put on trial in May 1902, but not for murder or war crimes. Instead, he was found guilty only of conduct to the prejudice of good order and military discipline.
What are these charges? These are the most vague, like, hey, you did something bad, but like, you know, whatever type charges.
Nisour Square Massacre.
Okay, don't like this face. Oh, this the Blackwater one.
On a normal morning in September 2007, a Blackwater convoy drove into Nisour Square in Baghdad to clear a route for U.S. officials. Moments later, though, out of nowhere, they opened fire on Iraqi civilians. 17 people were killed and 20 more were wounded. Some were shot while still sitting in their cars. For example, witnesses described one small Kia with a mother and her adult son inside. The son was shot in the head, and the car kept moving forward and was riddled with more bullets.
Oh, okay. I like how they threw that in there to try and make it sound like not as bad. With her son, don't worry, it wasn't a child, it was an adult son. Shot in the head innocently.
Blackwater claimed the convoy had been ambushed and that the guards fired in self-defense, but the Iraqi government called it an unprovoked attack.
Nah, see, I'm not going to side with the Iraqi government on that because y'all just get to do pop shots at us like the whole time. you guys are there for oil. I don't give a fuck. We're there. But if y'all just taking pop shot at us, get the fuck out the way, you know?
The FBI concluded that at least 14 of the 17 people killed had been shot without justification. Some Blackwater guards themselves told investigators that the shooting was wrong. One guard even kept firing after others shouted for him to stop, until another contractor aimed his weapon at him.
Bro, he's in war. Y'all all got shell-shock PTSD.
The massacre raised questions about the role of private military contractors, and Iraq demanded punishment for Blackwater and pressed for compensation.
We don't want compensation for the people who died. I want compensation as the president of Iraq. You don't give a fuck. You're just looking for some money. Got it.
In December 2020, President Donald Trump pardoned all 4 men. The decision triggered outrage in Iraq and harsh criticism from United Nations experts, who said the pardons violated U.S. obligations under international law.
Damn, Donald Trump said, you're free to go. Get out of here. I can't do the voice. You got to expect our war people to do war things. Should they kill innocent people? No. Did innocent people die? Yeah, we should compensate somehow, some way, shape, or form.
The photos from Abu Ghraib are widely known around the world for how disturbing they look, but the background is even darker.
Long story short, if you're friends with terrorists, don't be. If you're a terrorist, don't be. Now, were some people 100% fucked over in this? Absolutely. This one's bad. This one's not cool. This is basically like torture. Like this sucks. This sucks. It does.
Abu Ghraib was a normal detention and interrogation facility.
A normal?
But it wasn't at all. Inside?
Normal? Cock meat sandwiches are normal? What?
There was sexual humiliation to lengths we can't go to for obvious reasons. Torture, physical abuse, and rape.
Bro, this is when the CIA was doing that fucking work. This is when we were trying to really hunker down on shit.
Internal documents showed how they were given approval for what were called enhanced interrogation
I was about to say EIT techniques. EIT was like a thing. It's this, enhanced interrogation techniques. So you got like your waterboarding and other things going on in order to like extract information, actionable intelligence from said source.
These documents would be later known as the torture memos, for reasons you can imagine. They argued that the Geneva Conventions didn't apply overseas and didn't classify the detainees as prisoners of war, which allowed them
Did we say that? That was a crazy comment. It doesn't apply overseas. None of our wars have been fought in America. So they are just Geneva suggestions?
Uba recorded one prisoner sodomized with a chemical light. Detainees spoke of acid poured on their skin, being dragged by ropes tied to their genitals, and being mocked. Manadel al-Jamadi, whose death was ruled a homicide, never led to any criminal charges.
We're treating them like they treat their goats. Ay.
In 2006, the Supreme Court ruled that the Geneva Conventions did apply, and 17 soldiers and officers were removed, while 11 were court-martialed. The punishments varied. One guy got 10 years, some 3, and others shorter sentences, or even just reprimands or demotions.
You made that guy fuck a cactus? Psh, you're gonna lose rank. You are no longer a staff sergeant. You are a sergeant, and we are going to reduce your pay by $100 a month. You piece of shit. He made him fuck a cactus?
External contractors, such as the company CACI Premier Technology, also came under scrutiny. Pretty recently, in 2024, a jury found them liable for conspiring with military police to soften up prisoners through abuse, awarding 3 former detainees $42 million in damages.
I've been abused by the U.S. military multiple times. I would like my $42 million. Daddy, you can soften me up for about half of that, all right? Soften me up today. Hey.
Operation Speedy Express. This was one of the most brutal and controversial U.S. campaigns of the Vietnam War. You can get an idea of what really happened when you hear that the Army reported about 11,000 enemy killed, but recovered only 750 weapons from the dead.
Okay, Vietnam War is totally different. The Vietnam War is why we have so much accountability and lack of rules of engagement in today's fucking, like, military. Because in Vietnam, like, if you got shot at, people would be, like, embarrassed if they couldn't kill the enemy and you got like fucked up. So you had to lie and say you killed people. And you also had to lie and say that there were way more. And then you had to lie and like kill innocent people and take their weapons, which is actual bullshit, just saying. But still, shout out to all of our Vietnam vets. It's not a knock on them. It's a specific knock on the pieces of shit representing America in the Vietnam War.
On paper, the operation looked like an overwhelming success, considering that just 242 American soldiers died, while the enemy lost 11,000. But the numbers hid something darker. The fact that only about 750 weapons were recovered means that thousands of those killed were probably unarmed civilians. The Army's own Inspector General later estimated that between 5,000 and 7,000 civilians were killed during the operation.
Is that a bad guy? Looks like a child. That's probably a bad guy then. Bam!
A lot of innocent Vietnamese civilians got slaughtered because of the Yule Hunt drive to have the highest body count in the land. Survivors and witnesses described whole
that's
villages
Marine
wiped
shit.
out with...
I just want a high body count. Oh, you fucking bitches.
In 1972, Newsweek published an investigation by Kevin Buckley and Alexander Shimkin called Pacification's Deadly Price. They had interviewed villagers and studied hospital records. In one provincial hospital, they found that 3/4 of the civilian wounds treated came from U.S. firepower, not Viet Cong attacks. Their conclusion was that thousands of civilians had been killed during Speedy Express.
I'm probably going to sound super retarded here, probably because I've never been to Vietnam. Bro, if we know these motherfuckers in the trees, bro, I'm setting mass forest fires. Bro, napalm the fuck out of all that shit. We're just going to have fucking flamethrower people lighting shit up all fucking day. Fuck every tree eating shit. Yeah, Agent Orange time.
No Gun Ri Massacre.
No Gun Ri?
In the summer of 1950, during the Korean War, one of its darkest tragedies took place at a railway bridge near the village of No Gun Ri. U.S. commanders were afraid that North Korean soldiers were disguising themselves as civilians.
Yes, no, see, that's my worry too, is that, like, I feel like sometimes, like, I'm not justifying war crimes at all. But I even told y'all before we even started this shit, Nikko playing dress up. Half of these people pretending to be civilians, or like a quarter or some percentage, I guarantee you are bad guys. But there are 100% civilians in there, and that's super sad.
As waves of refugees fled south from the advancing North Korean army, they reached U.S. lines. There, they were stopped, searched, and grouped near the railway tracks by No Gun Ri. American planes then shot at them. Survivors say ground troops soon opened fire too, driving them into the culverts and pinning them down in the bridge underpasses.
We had a plane, dudes? Are we testing on human beings? That's for sure like a test. But like, we want to see if we can do gun runs on people. That is terrible, but I am trying to see what that looks like. Is that bad? Am I a psycho person?
With survivors speaking of about 400 people killed, and U.S. veterans giving numbers ranging from dozens to several hundred.
We doing gun runs on 400 people? That's crazy. I feel like that doesn't, like, financially, that's a bad move. I'm just saying, government funding
was able to confirm 163 people dead or missing by name, along with 55 wounded, and concluded that the real toll was likely much higher, around 250 to 300. Nearly half of the confirmed victims were children. For decades, the story was silenced. U.S. Army's 2001 report admitted that civilians had been killed by American air and ground fire, but claimed there had been no orders to deliberately massacre them. It described the killings as a tragic accident of war.
We accidentally gave the plane a perfect gun run. The plane accidentally did a perfect gun run, sir. It was an accident, though. It was perfect, though, sir.
Sand Creek Massacre. On November 29th, 1864, troops under Colonel John Chivington rode toward a Native American camp.
Oh, shit, the Indians. Fuck. Hey, shout out to the Indians.
Rode toward a Native American camp of the Cheyenne and Arapaho people. Chief Black Kettle had moved his people there after being told it was...
Chief Black Kettle Popcorn. Chief Kettle Corn.
Witnesses later described women and children being shot at close range, people cut apart with knives, babies killed, and bodies mutilated for trophies. One account told of a child wandering in the sand while soldiers took turns trying to shoot him. By the time the killing ended, most of the dead were women and children. Chivington claimed that 500 to 600 warriors were killed, boasting about the number, but other sources said the real number was closer to 150, with about 2/3 women and children.
Bro, you didn't kill 560 people, you only killed 150. Fucking rookie. Bro, your massacre wasn't even that fucking good, bro. Shut up, man.
In the 1851 Fort Laramie Treaty, the U.S. recognized a large Cheyenne and Arapaho homeland. But after the Colorado Gold Rush and new migration, they asked the natives for more land than was agreed.
All right. To be fair, Indians used to scalp and wear necklaces of fingers and ears. Yeah, you know what? That part, we scrapping that. Everybody bent on fingers and ears, guys. Not even a big deal. We been on that for a minute, okay?
Philippines concentration camps.
Philippines concentration camps. Okay, we know this is going to be bad.
During the Philippine-American War, concentration camps were used in Batangas, and one American officer described them as some suburb of hell. You'll soon understand why. Back then, General James Franklin Bell took command of U.S. forces in that area, and his goal was to starve the rebels and cut them off from any support. However, since there were many civilians there, they decided to put them into heavily guarded camps, as their homes, fields, and animals were destroyed.
I want to be like, well, they put them in the concentration camps. At least they didn't murder them. I feel like I'm about to eat those words.
All civilians were required to carry identification papers, and anyone found outside the camps without them could be shot on the spot. Bell himself said neutrality should not be tolerated, which meant that everyone was either an enemy or a friend, and anyone accused of helping the rebels risked execution.
Hey, am I kind of with that? Like, in war, there is no neutrality. Like, I do kind of fuck with that. Like, hey, listen, this is a war zone. I'm not saying you're a bad guy, but if you're a good guy, you gonna dip the fucky out.
Food was also scarce.
Bro, being a guard would suck ass. You just get, like, handoff diseases.
To dig their own graves before being executed, with the excuse that keeping them alive would take food away from U.S. troops. Torture was also performed, such as waterboarding. The death toll was incredible. Between January and April 1902,
we was waterboarding in 1902. We was waterboarding in 1902. Yo, shout out to the Spanish and Italians in the 1950s for making waterboarding.
8,350 people died in the camps. In some camps, as many as 1 out of every 5 prisoners died.
No. I said the 1500s. The 1500s.
Wounded Knee Massacre.
Wounded Knee.
Before sunrise at Wounded Knee Creek, cavalry surrounded the Native American band of Lakota and began collecting their guns. Tension grew as soldiers searched the people, and a deaf Lakota man named Black Coyote held onto his rifle, and during a struggle, it went off. In that instant, soldiers opened fire on the entire camp, even though most Lakota men had already been disarmed.
I don't give a fuck that he deaf, bro. If we're fighting and y'all don't take care of your deaf homie and he shoots my boy, we know that when we kill the deaf dude, y'all are gonna be pissed and start fighting. Oh, y'all getting shut the fuck up.
The Army's Hotchkiss guns fired into the tents where women and children were hiding. In less than an hour, more than 250 Lakota were killed or fatally wounded. 25 U.S. soldiers were also killed. Survivors tried to flee, but they were chased and shot, and some soldiers finished off the wounded where they lay.
I mean, I would too, bro. If I'm fucked up, yo, shoot me in my head. I ain't trying to fucking... Bro, it's back in like the fucking hella old times, man. We're just gonna do that. I know you're not gonna heal me if I'm shot and wounded, bro. I'm not trying to suffer. Please shoot me in my fucking head, sir.
The Army removed Colonel Forsyth, who had led the operation, but later reinstated him. An inquiry criticized his
pretty
tactics,
good at this.
but did not blame him. 19 Medals of Honor were then awarded for Wounded Knee. Native leaders and many others have condemned those awards for decades.
What?
But most recently, in 2025, the Defense Secretary announced the medals would not be revoked.
They said, nah, we ain't taking back that Medal of Honor, brother. We're not taking it back.